I'm Ryan Southworth with Rocket Dad, where we encourage dads to spend time with their kids building rockets. Today we're going to look at the Bandits. This is the beginner kit from Estes. There's actually 3 rockets inside here. So when you see the 3 different colors, it really is 3 different rockets in here. So the only thing really different about them, I think, is the actual fins and how the fins are kind of laid out. So we're going to open this kit up. We're going to check out what's inside, and then we're going to build it. Elsie here, this is her first rocket build. She's never built a rocket before, so she is excited. We are in our jammies because it's getting close time for bed. So what's great about building rockets is you fit it in where you fit it in. If you have like 10 minutes to run down after dinner to work on your rocket a little bit, spend that 10 minutes. A lot of times it's glue something real quick, and then you have to let it sit. And then you can go off and do something else. Or if you want to kind of plow through it and do a lot, you could do that too. So we are excited here to get going on the Bandit. All right, why don't we open this up? Want to open her up for us? I'll cut it up over there, not on the paper. There you go. Perfect. I bet we could rip it the rest of the way. Want to rip her open? There we go. All right. Lots of stuff in here. Because it's 3 full rockets. What do we got here? Looks like we got a cone, we got some fins, and a parachute. So there's Mr. Purple. There's a body tube. Body tube. We got 3 body tubes. We got our orange set. We got our green set. What else we got in here? We got our trash. Got our picture. And we got our decals that we'll put those all on. And we have our instructions. All right, we're gonna open these up and we are going to check it out. All right, I look at the instructions here, and a lot of times on these instructions, they'll say exactly what you need. So here it says, what does it say right there, Else?
Right there?
That guy right there.
Oh, scissors.
Scissors, we got scissors. What else does it say?
What's that word?
Carpenter's.
Glue?
Carpenter's glue. So when you see carpenter's glue, you're like, what kind of glue does that mean? What kind of glue do you think that is?
I don't know.
No, I don't know either. It is actually regular wood glue. So if you use a regular wood glue, we like to use the Tight Bond 2 premium wood glue. You can get just a small little thing of it. You don't need to buy a large one. I just happen to have bought a large one because I probably glue a lot of things together. And then what else we got?
Plastic.
Cement. Yeah.
Cement.
Plastic cement. So plastic cement is kind of a weird thing, but it is actually an other glue, and you use that glue to glue plastic things together. So a lot of these fins, when you glue those together, you don't really want to use wood glue on that. You would want to use plastic cement. So it's 2 types of glues. They do have a picture of the glue type right there. And I believe when you go into the instructions, when you're gluing, it's going to give the kind of the same picture of the thing of the plastic cement looks like that. So you're going to see it looks like that. And then where it tells you to do the other glue, the end looks like that. Your carpenter's glue, which is this guy. That one is when you see this bottle. So it's a different bottle of glue there. They have different things. So this one is for plastics. This one is for gluing like wood or paper, that kind of thing. So 2 different things. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, we got our trash here. Why don't you throw our trash over in our little trash can over there. Keep our space. workspace clean. And so let's dive into this. All right, which color did you want to build?
Orange.
Orange. All right. So we got an orange. We also have the green and purple. We'll throw those over there. Perfect. Thank you. And we got that guy right there. So let's go ahead and open this guy up. Pretty tough. Did you get all your homework done?
Mm-hmm.
Got all your schoolwork done?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. We'll pop. Why don't you take all those things out and put those there. I also pulled out a hobby knife. I didn't know if I needed to cut something. But again, I like to use a hobby knife that has a lid to it or a cap. It's just safer around kids. So I just have that just in case we need to cut something that we didn't want to do with just scissors. All right, let's check these out. Perfect, thank you. I've got a little stool down here so that Elsie can stand on, so she can see the surface of the table really good. Jump down all the way down on the ground. If she's building something and she's kind of a little too low, that's not quite as fun, and having her up and above, she can have better visibility of everything on the table, so that makes a little more sense. We got our parachute here. We've got a shock cord. Boing, boing, boing. We have a nose cone. I bet that fits on this side. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
We've already built part of the rocket. So you got the nose cone, you have your body tube, you have your fins here, which these probably glue together. What do you think? Do they go like that?
Mm-mm.
What, which way? Sideways?
Like that.
Oh, like that. Oh, you're so smart. Perfect. So we'll glue those together like that. And I would assume that this would go in here after you've glued that together. And then you have your launch lug. So that is where your rod is going to, I believe this will glue somewhere onto here. And then the little rod that sticks up for your launcher that your rocket will sit on, when you light it off, it's going to ride on that guy right there. And that's what I believe that guy is. And then we have this cool little piece. We'll figure that out later. And then we have these two things. What are these? I believe these will be the back of where the engine goes, and we'll hold the engine in place. The engine will just stick right in there. All right, let's bust these instructions out. We've got all our parts and pieces laid out nicely so we don't lose them. Beautiful, love it. Step one. All right, what are we gluing here first, do you think?
I like if I could take these and glue them together.
Okay. And where does it say for us to glue that?
Probably up there.
Probably up there. Assembly stays the same regardless of the fin shape. So no matter what pack you're building, these are all exact same instructions for that. All right, so let's glue this together. So before you glue something, a very great rule you will find, no matter if you're gluing together your most basic kit, or if you're gluing together more of a mid-power kit, which is this beautiful Peregrine Junior that Ben built, or whether you're building this or you're building a high-power kit, you are going to want to always, I wonder how many times I'll say this, dry fit your pieces together. That means give it a test. Put it together first, make sure all the pieces fit together, and then after you've done that, then you glue it. Because sometimes, probably not for this, but sometimes you might have to sand something down a little bit. And you don't want to have put glue on and then like, oh, I need to sand something down. And you're scrambling to find your sandpaper, and then the glue will start drying. So these two fit together. I can't get it together. Kind of tricky, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see that. Go right in there. What about the back?
Wait.
Ooh, you get it?
There we go.
We got it. Great job. All right, so that is fit together perfectly right there. So it was a little hard to kind of piece it together, make sure it lines up. So I think we'll try, you can see there's these little holes right here. And then there's little pins that stick out right here. So I think those go in like that. And you just make sure those are lined up and you put them together like that. That wasn't too bad, was it? All right, well, let's glue that. So when we glue this, I think we'll just put, it's saying to showing to put glue kind of along this edge. So why don't we go ahead and we'll use our plastic cement, this guy, and we're gonna throw a tiny bit of glue right around there, okay? All right, why don't I do one side, then you can see how it goes, and then you'll go to the other side, okay? So this glue is probably gonna come out fast, so we wanna squeeze it very carefully. So I just bought this from Hobby Lobby. And before I pull this out, one thing I forgot, paper towels. Paper towels are always a must when you're doing any type of gluing. So we're just even gonna get this little piece of paper right there. All right, pull it off. And we're gonna do it over the instructions so we don't get our workspace. Big old nice bubble right there. That's pretty. We'll just get that off. Sometimes there's a little air in there if your temperatures, or if it's like hotter down here, it'll expand. All right, so we're gonna glue these together. I'll do this side. So I'm just barely pushing on it. Just give it a little knock. Just kind of going like that. I don't really have to get these edges too much, but where the pins are, that's where I want to get it the most. I'm just barely touching that. I'm gonna give it a go. Really gentle. Good. Just tiniest little bit. Just go right down that edge. There you go. Perfect. Better than I did. That's good right there. Perfect. All right. So let's throw a cap on that real quick. Thank you, dear. You can set that down. All right, before this dries, let's get this together quickly. We got it. What do you think? We glued our first piece together. Are you excited? Mm-hmm. I'm pretty excited. All right, so usually hold that together. I didn't read the instructions on it and how long it sets. I haven't really used the plastic glues or the plastic cement very often. Kind of give a slightest tug on it. It seems to have caught or set up a little bit, but you're just pushing it together. Biggest thing you want to be careful of here is making sure this part up here that it's seated really well, because this is what's going to go inside your body tube. So we're just going to give that a firm hold for a second more here, and then we might let that sit. Sweet. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. You happy with that? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. All right. And we finished the first spot, the first number. Usually I have a pencil and I will check that off. So that was the first one. We did that. We held it together until it sets. Now, a good thing to do, I'm just gonna set this like that, not touch it. One cool thing on these will say how long they set. And when I use my eyeballs cannot read that. When you try to read this, maybe some of these larger words I could read, but some of these smaller words I can't read. So, can you read it? No. Yeah, right? Even your little beautiful eyes can't read it. So I found a great trick is you take your cell phone, you take a picture of it, and then you look at your picture and you zoom in, and then you can read it just fine. So that is a great trick for a lot of things. If you need to look up the model on any type of your dishwasher, take a picture of it, then blow it up, and then you can read it with no problem. So take a picture of the instructions, look at what it says, make sure you're using it the way it's saying to use it. All right, we got that glued together. Next, what are we attaching here? What does that say?
Attach launch lug.
Okay. Do you know it in Spanish?
Mm-mm.
All right, so we're going to attach the launch lug. So that's this little guy here. And like I said, that's going to be on the side of your rocket. And then the rod of your launcher is going to go through that. And then your rocket, when it goes off, it's going to go up riding on that through that launch lug. So what does it say here? It shows you to put a little glue around the edges. Hopefully Dad doesn't glue his fingers together. And so I would still be careful with this. Now, if you wanted to let this set, it's like, hey, we did the first step, let's head to bed. We could go to bed and let this dry overnight and come back in the morning. I think we're going to glue one more piece on, and I think that's going to be it for tonight. And then we'll come back in the morning, or might do it at lunch. We'll see what we get to. All right, so it shows on the instructions that this goes right on those two little marks. They're right there. I don't see any other marks. So it's going to go right there. So we dry fit first. So we set it on. And it kind of just sits. You can feel that it sits right in that spot. All right. So why don't we set that down really gently? We do need that again. You ready to glue that?
Mm-hmm.
Don't glue Dad's fingers. All right. I want you to take the cap off. Put a little bit of glue on there, and we'll glue this in.
Like on those things?
What does our instructions say here? It says round the whole kind of outside there. So just a little bit. You get a little bubble on there. Pop the bubble off right, like sometimes you can just wipe it off in the middle. We'll pop the bubble. There you go. Oh, you glued my finger. Give a little squeeze, get a little more out. Good.
And over on this side.
Yep. Good. All the way around. Good. You can get my finger a little bit. It's fine. So my fingers will be stuck. Won't be able to type at work, will I? Maybe put some in the middle right there. Perfect. I like it. Go ahead and throw that cap on real quick. All right. Got it? Yeah, it doesn't, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna put this on because my fingers are probably gonna be glued together here, but I'll just drop that on right there. Does it fit? Ooh. Right there, I think that got us. Once you've glued that on, if you feel you didn't get a good glue on that, you can probably just let that dry, and then you could throw a little bead of glue right along the edge of it. It's called a fillet. And a fillet is where you go down the seam. Usually it's on the seam of the fins, but you do a fillet, which puts that little extra glue right there and makes it extra strong. I thought we got a good glue on that. Do you feel good about that? Mm-hmm. Happy with it? Mm-hmm. Is it time for bed? Mm-hmm. I think it is time for bed. We are gonna let this sit and dry just like that. When you're letting some glue dry, sometimes especially like a wood glue that might run a little bit, you may want to put some wax paper down. And so if it falls on, the glue falls onto the wax paper, you can take care of that. Or you let it sit for like 5, 10, 15 minutes and then come back, and any drips, you can kind of wipe those up a little bit. Or if it fully dries, you can always use a little bit of sandpaper over that glue, and that will make it go away. All right, I think that's it for now. We're gonna go to bed, and we'll be back in the morning, and we'll keep working at this. Hi, I'm Ryan Southworth with Rocket Dad, and we're back. We're back to build the Bandit. In this kit, it had 3 separate sets, so 3 separate rockets in this kit, and we're building the orange one here. We took a break and went to bed last night, and now we're back after school today, and now we're back at it, which is the great thing about building a rocket, is we can build a rocket when time permits us to do that. If somebody gets grounded, then no building rockets probably. But if we have 10, 15 minutes to go ahead and work on building a little part, we can fit that in. And eventually we'll get to a finished product and we'll go out and launch that. So where did we leave off here, Else? What have we glued together so far?
We glued that and that thing on.
Okay, what's that thingy called?
I forget.
It's called a launch lug. And so when you have the big rod from the launcher, this is going to go down that rod. We're going to hook an igniter up to it with an engine, and then we're going to light it off, and then off it's going to go on that. And that keeps it nice and straight as it goes up, and then it gets enough speed so once it comes off the rod, it'll be traveling fast enough that the wind going over the fins will still keep that straight. So that's that. All right. What's our next step here?
It says, it looks like it says to put something like that on that, and then put it onto that.
Yes, you are a good instruction follower. You must build Lego sets.
Mm-hmm.
I do think those who love Lego sets would actually really enjoy building rockets because you're just putting things together. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. We want to go ahead and grab our glue. Now let's be careful when you unscrew that because if temperature changes, it might expand and some of the glue might come out. We again have our paper towels ready. Make sure it doesn't goo out. All right, good. So we are putting the glue around, and real careful for this. We would keep it kind of more upright until we're ready to use it. It says put it around the inside. So we're putting just a little bit around the inside, and then we're gonna shove it onto here. And as I said before, we always want to dry fit our pieces first. Make sure that goes on. Ooh, perfect. And I think last night we could have glued that piece on as well, but we kind of just ran out of time and it's time to go to bed. So go ahead and we're gonna glue this guy right here. So we're just putting some glue on the inside. I'll rotate it around. Perfect. Good, good. All right, go ahead and get that cap back on. Oh yeah, wipe that off. Get that cap back on and set her off to the side. Kind of spinning this slowly a little bit just kind of helps move that glue around. And then why don't you go ahead and fit that on. When you put this on, you might give a slight little twist. It helps kind of goo the glue around a little bit. All right, did you give it a little twist?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great, excellent. It looks like make sure it's fitted all the way down to the edge, which it is. Did great job. Excellent. All right, so that's looking really good there. What we want to be careful is we're not getting any glue on this piece here. This piece is, so you do not want to glue this on, and it even says in the instructions right here to not glue that on, because this is when we put the engine in, we'll grab one of these little baby engines, and once we put that inside, this is going to kind of go on and lock it in place. And so we don't want to get any glue on this because this will be taking on and off to put the different engines in. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. All right, we're going to set this aside to dry. And what's our next step here?
Oh, it looks like you have that and put some glue on it and then take this and then put it in like that.
Ooh, I love how, I almost got glued to the paper towel. Forgot there was glue on there. All right, yep, exactly. What this is for is you have your cone. Sometimes you get a little piece that glues to the cone, so that's gonna stay there forever. And here is where you're gonna tie on your parachute. So your parachute's gonna tie onto that. So the cone needs a place for the parachute to tie on. So a lot of times in the different kits we've built, sometimes that piece is kind of already there, part of the nose cone, and other times you'll have a separate piece that you'll need to glue on. So this time, I noticed when you glued that one in, there was a lot of little extra glue in there. This time we want to be a little careful and do a little less. So you just want to go right around that edge right there, right around this edge, and then we're going to glue that into place. So we're first dry fit it. That looks good just like that. All right, so once you grab the glue again, perfect. And I'm gonna kind of hold it like this, so then as you go, I'll be able to twist it. Okay, so far so good. That's all right. Ah, no. Oh my, no, it fell. Dang it. Gosh, it fell. All right, keep going.
It's just.
That's all right. That's really good. Think that's good enough?
Looks. I think we should put
A little more over there. My hand looks cool. Perfect. All right. So a little glob right there. We're gonna wipe that up there in a second. We'll just put that in there and we'll give it a little twist. Now, what do you think about this, Heroes? What do you think about that glob sticking out there?
I think we should wipe it down.
Wipe it down. Why should we wipe it down?
I don't know.
Because when this goes inside here, if this were to dry like that, then that will just be bulging out and it won't go in very well. So we're going to use, like you said, some paper towels here, and we're going to wipe that off. Just give a little twist. If you happen to forget to wipe that off or some gooed out a little later and you didn't see it, you can just sand it down. So you can usually get a little bit of sandpaper, sand that down and after it's dried, and then it'll be able to cleanly go on your nose cone. All right, I think I got all that off. Looks pretty good. What do you think?
I don't think it's good.
You think it's good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are going to throw this away because it's got wet glue on it. Did we wipe up that glue right there? Got it. All right, I'm gonna go throw that away. You hang on to that guy just like that. Cutter. Always have a good trash can nearby. All right, we're getting down to some other parts where this rocket's almost done. So we got the nose cone on, or the cap for the nose cone on, so that part's done. Now we're gonna look at, there's some things here we need to cut out, and we'll explain that, and that's our next step. So we can take this guy. Why don't we get, you can use a paper towel or you can use a piece of wax paper I've used in the past as well. So if any glue drips down onto your surface, you don't want that to be on there. So I'll just set that on the paper towel. But wax paper usually is probably a better thing to set it on. Just a little bit easier there. Also note, if you're gluing things at home and you don't have a workbench per se, I would not suggest really using a dining room table. Mom might get a little bit mad if you got a little glue on the dining room table. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So whenever your surface area is, make sure you've put some of that wax paper down or something else to protect the surface. If you have a workbench, I have my older workbench here. I don't really care too much if I got glue on it because I've gotten lots of glue and epoxy on it and it's all beat up. I probably need to refinish the top of it, but another project down the road. All right, here we go. Next step, install the shock cord. Where's our shock cord?
Is it this?
It is that. It's a little stretchy. Some of the more of the basic kind of beginner kits will have more of a stretchy cord, and other kits will have, I should grab the Peregrine Junior here. It's a beautiful rocket that Ben built. The shock cord, if I take this off, oh, actually this doesn't have a shock cord because this one you're not supposed to have a shock cord on it there. The shock cord is there for different reasons. This is a payload bay here, and so this usually just stays attached. But the shock cord here is this guy. So it looks more like a string. This is called Kevlar string. So this is what some shock cords look like, but then you still have your parachute. These are the parachute guidelines, and the parachute's in there for this one, but that's what other shock cords, as you get kind of out of those really beginner kits, these, after a few launches, they get a little brittle, but they're perfect for what we need right now. All right, let me throw this back over here. All right, so what does it say here? So it shows to cut out this little guy right there. So where is that guy? Right there it is. They did 3 of them. Why is there 3?
I don't know. All right, 3 rockets.
3 rockets. There we go. So we'll just cut one of those out. Now what they do is, for these beginner type rockets, is they'll get that piece of paper that looks just like this. You take that paper, you cut it out, and then you'll fold it up, and the shock cord is going to be laying inside that. And then with some wood glue we'll be using at that point, and you'll fold that up, and then you're going to kind of curve it a little bit, and then it's going to go inside your rocket here. It's going to go inside, but it's got to go in far enough so that the nose cone can still get in. So nose cone's not that long. It's just about a pinky long. Just one pinky. So it only goes in about that much. You really just need to make sure that piece, you're getting it down far enough so you don't obstruct that nose cone going all the way in. So, we ready to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Time to bust out some scissors. Give you some scissors, and I'll let you cut that little dude out. Hit it. Good, looking good. Perfect. Does not have to be perfect, and you did an excellent job. Looks great. So again, the shock cord is going to get glued into here. It's going to go glued inside your body tube. It's going to be glued right in here, and that's for when. And then this end's going to get attached to your nose cone. So it'll kind of be lined up where this is going to be attached here, and then your nose cone is going to be attached here, and then your parachute gets attached onto this as well. And that's kind of the complete rocket right there. So we're getting pretty close. Let's put that like that. Now when I glue this, I always like to, after I glue it on the inside, I like to make sure it's oriented to the bottom. So I would glue it to one side and have that laid down. So then just gravity, as glue is kind of moving around and drying, curing, it will still stay to the bottom. Where if you had it towards the top, it may kind of curve around a little bit. I just kind of find that easier. All right, so let's get our instructions back out. Don't need that guy. All right, what do we got here? So it shows right here to put the glue. So this paper is folded in thirds. So we're going to take this. I always like to orient it the way it is on the paper so I know exactly what we're doing here. So we're going to kind of make little folds, and I like to pre-fold it so it's just already folded and I don't have to worry about it. We'll unfold it. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some glue on that two spot. See how the two spot right there, they got some glue. We're going to put a little glue on it, and it's going to get messy. So what are we going to need?
Paper towels.
Paper towels. We'll get a couple of those ready just right now so we don't forget. All right, so we're going to glue that onto here. And I always like to think about this ahead of time. We're going to glue that onto there. Then we're going to fold this over. Then it says we put glue on this spot. So we get glue on there. You want to make sure you get glue under and over on that. You're not dousing it with glue, but you're getting enough glue in there. Then we're folding this over. Then we're going to hold it in our fingers, and it says to hold until set. That's just kind of, it's like not completely done, so it's just kind of dry a little bit. While it's doing that, I also like to curve it. And I curve it because you're not gluing it onto something flat. You're gluing it onto your main body tube. So you want to curve it a little, so when you get your fingers in there, that might not fit. I might need to use a different finger. That's even still pretty big. You might have to have a little tinier finger. Do we have any smaller fingers than these? Oh, there they are. So we'll let Elsie kind of push it down in and make sure it goes in far enough that it's not going to obstruct the this part of the nose cone. You know what this part of the nose cone is called right here?
Mm-mm.
It's called the shoulder.
Mm.
Does that make any sense?
Mm-mm.
Me neither. That's just what it's called. All right, so we are ready to go. We kind of dry fitted it, and let's get gluing on it. I have our premium Type Bond 2 wood glue, and that's what I like to use for your carpenter's or just wood type glue. And let's get started here. So let's glue over here. Just because it's out of the way of these instructions. The instructions we've already done. So, you want to throw some glue on there?
Wait, is this? Oh.
I did open it. So just on kind of number 2 there. Perfect, that's good, that's perfect. So we'll take that. I'm just gonna throw this down on it to kind of mush it around a little bit. And then we're gonna take this guy and we're gonna lay it so it's just like that. Does this need to be perfect? It sure does not, but we'll do our best. So we got that kind of like that. It's gonna go out a little bit. Oh, I got glue on my finger. And then our next step was to put glue kind of underneath. Go ahead and do that one. So we don't glue my fingers together. That's good. And you can always take your finger, you can rub it around. Get some on the shot cord. Wipe it off on a piece of paper or paper towel. All right. Oh, my fingers are stuck. Ah, they're stuck else. Well, actually a little stuck. We'll fold that over there, put that in. So as paper gets wet, which is getting wet from the glue, it gets really bendy. So we're going to kind of bend it so it kind of goos out a little bit. We're going to kind of hold it so it kind of holds and let it set. How was school today?
Good.
Good. Also in building rockets gives an absolute great time to talk to your kids about life and what's going on. So it's always a good opportunity. What's going on in life?
Not much.
Not much. Okay. All right. So this is looking pretty good. Fingers are getting glued together. This isn't super glue, so not that big of a deal, but super glue will be a little bit of a different kind of, I want to say rules, but a little bit different there on how you want to handle super glue. Wood glue is kind of not that big of a deal. All right, why don't we go ahead and throw this in? So what we're going to do is I have this curved a little bit, okay? We're going to put a little bit of glue on this side because that's going to go on the inside in there. And then you're gonna hold it on your finger just like this, your pointy finger. Which one's your pointy finger?
This one.
So you're gonna hold it just like this. I'll probably put the glue on there. Then you're gonna take this and then you're gonna turn it upside down because you want the glue on there. You're gonna put your finger in there and push it down in. But it's gotta go in far enough so that this won't be in the way. So you gotta get past right there. Make sense? All right. And when it's wet, we'll still be able to move it around a little bit. Okay? So why don't you use your pointy finger? Okay, got it? You ready to put it in? You can see a cat hair, dog hair, or somebody hair. We'll pull that out. That's probably
a mom hair.
That's probably a mom hair, huh? All right. We'll make sure this is curved. Keep it over, kind of keep it over here. We'll get that on. Let's put a little blob on it right there. And then we'll kind of get it around. How's that look?
Good.
Looks professional, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so flip it up and put it in. And you want to try to not get any glue until you get in far enough. And once it's in far enough, then go ahead, give it a gentle push down. Kind of just gently push it down. How does that look?
Good.
Let's go peek at it. Ooh, yeah, you got in there really far, so that's great. I've got glue on my fingers and I'm trying not to get glue on the body tube. That can always sand off, but I'd rather not have to sand something off that I don't have to. So I'm gonna stick my pinky in here, barely fits. Just kind of pushing it down, just kind of hold it down for a second. Oh, it's glued in there. that looks pretty good to me. Does that look good to you?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that looks good to me. All right, so we're gonna let that dry. And as we let that dry, it's sitting right here. So we're gonna wanna position it and lay it down like this and not flip it around that it's up at the top. We want it to lay down. So let gravity do its work. So we're just gonna lay that down right there. Perfect. And we're just gonna get the shock cord out of the way and leave it like that. All right. So that was this whole step here. We cut the thing out, we folded it up, we got our glue in, we held it for a little while, put it in the body tube, and we glued it. So that looks good. And here on the picture, they show not to glue it right out on the edge because obviously this, the shoulder of the cone will get in the way. So I think you did a great job with that. Next is to attach the parachute to the nose cone. Well, we've just glued that in. That's kind of set for a little while. So we just glued it. I bet it's fine. We could just wait and come back in 20 minutes or tomorrow if we wanted to. But I think we'd be okay to put that on now. We'll just be a little gentle with it, and then our rocket really will be ready. And then our next steps is decals. So we had a couple decals somewhere right here. We'll put decals on, and then I think we'll be ready to go. So why don't you go ahead and open that up. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Scissors are not very sharp, so I'm gonna help you just get it started.
These are not sharp scissors.
All right. Let's cut this sucker open. Open up this guy. Just give it a little cut. Put her back on. Excellent. Let's go ahead and open that up and then get our parachute out. Make sure to close up your wood glue after you use it. I like to clean off the tip of it so that it just stays nice and clean. Perfect. All right, here's our parachute. So our parachute, the way they usually come, is pretty much all the guidelines are already attached to your parachute. So open it up here, see what we got. What do we have? We've got a couple different cords. Kind of hard to see. Let's move this out of the way. We have one that's going across, one that's on this side, thank you, and then one on this side. So they're just a bunch of loops, and then usually put them over on your finger like this, and you want to kind of find the center. So you kind of fold the parachute in half, or you find the center of the parachute like that, and then you kind of pull it so that it is not, don't rip them off, but pull it so you find the center. Once you find the center, I kind of hold that spot. And when I hold that spot, I'm gonna make a loop. And when I hold that with still glue on my fingers, we're gonna wanna feed that through here. And after we feed it through, we're gonna push that loop through, then we're gonna take the parachute, put it through the loop, and then pull it back on itself. All right, can you try to get that through there? You can pinch them together and just get them through. Ooh, good job. All right, so we got our loop. So we're gonna take this, why don't you hold the cone just gently. And we still have our loop, and I'm still keeping this spot, because that's where I want, when I cinch it up, I want to get it all the way to that spot. So I'm opening it up nice and easy. We'll take the parachute and just kind of fold it up like this. Put it through, and then it's going to do that kind of a hitch, still saving that spot right around there. Okay, good, you can let go of that. So now that has hitched around that spot, and so you didn't tie it on, you kind of made a loop back on itself. And so that is what our parachute's gonna look like. And our nose cone's gonna be hanging from that. Look good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What I think now, we just have to let things dry. Because the next thing would be to tie the shock cord onto that cone, and then really it's complete. So I'm just gonna let that finish drying there. And we gotta tie our shock cord on next, and then we can put our decals on. So I think the orange rocket gets what color decals?
Orange.
Orange decals. So we'll be putting these decals on, and we'll be doing that later. So I think it's time for lunch. You hungry?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hungry too. All right, we'll be back in a while to finish the rest. And again, this is what's great about building rockets. The amount of time you can just do a little here, a little there, and eventually get your rocket done. Or you can power through. But sometimes you do need to let that glue dry. And so that's what we're gonna do here, and we'll be back. Hi, I'm Ryan Southworth with Rocket Dad, and we're back to finish up the last final parts of this rocket. We're gonna attach the shock cord and then put on the decals, which I think the decals for this rocket is actually a sticker. So there's different types of decals. Some you kind of dip them in water and then you can put them on, and then others are kind of like just like stickers. And I think this one is just stickers. We'll take a look. So on our instructions, we had just finished up gluing on the shock cord onto here. How does that look, Els? Does that look good in there?
Mm-hmm.
Is it little wing, 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 wing? So that looks pretty good in there. Stick my pinky in there. Feels good. I don't know how it would feel bad, but it looks good. So now we have to attach the shock cord. So here's our rocket. It sits beautifully, just like that. And then now our cone, which has our cool parachute on it. So the parachute now needs to, or we need to attach the shock cord to the cone. So this does not get really complicated. We're just gonna, you wanna feed that through there? Perfect. And then now we're gonna tie a couple knots onto this. This is elastic, so I'm not doing a cool bowline or something like that if I had some different cord. But I'll just do a couple overhands on this, and then I'm gonna cut off the extra, and I'll show you why. So just kind of tie that on. This is not taking a lot of force, so we'll just tie these on here a few. Do about 43 knots. I think 43 is good enough. So I just tied that on a few times. Now I got that extra piece hanging off there. So if I would have wrapped up my parachute, stuffed all this in, you can see how when I would put this in, I mean, you could tuck that in too, but it's most likely gonna flop up and just be in your way. So I always like to cut a little bit of the extra off there. So I'll pull out my hobby knife, which we need to be very careful with this because it is very sharp. And we're gonna set it down here, stretch it out a little bit, and then just cut off our extra. Boink. And that looks pretty good. Enough extra right there, but it won't be protruding out onto the side there. So we'll throw that guy away, get our cap back on. All right, so really our rocket could fly just like this. We would stuff some wadding down into the tube to protect our parachute. We'll go over all that later. You'll fold this up with your cords, and with this, gets all stuffed inside there, and then your rocket cone will sit on top, and your rocket will be just like that. And then your engine, which is some from our engine, a pack of engines, we're gonna start out with the half A's. So on the rocket kit, it says to use the 1/2 A3s. And then after that, you can do the A3s. So the 1/2 A3s is half the power. And so you want to start off with a smaller one. And those ones you can launch usually, at least in our neighborhood, we have a little bit of a green space area, and we're going to go out and launch it out there. So get some good videos of the launch is what will happen next. And then once you put the engine inside here, they have two of these caps make sure you save one. Once this one gets kind of worn out, then you have an extra one, or if you lose it, and then this cap will just kind of goes on, and then it just twists on, and then it just stays on like that, and then all the thrust shoots out that way. So we'll try to get some good video footage of the launch, some slow-mos of it. I'm excited. Are you excited?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. All right. So now what's the last step here? We tied our cord on. Now is our decals. So decals are next, and then it's just how to load the rocket up, which we'll go over that in the last video of loading the engines and then actually launching it. I'm excited for that. That's the most exciting part, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's get these decals. Remember these decals, there's 3 sets here. So we're doing the orange ones. So let's peel these off. It's nice to have the picture to kind of see where all the flames and all the stickers go. Looks like they have the big one. Let's see here. We got the big long one, which kind of goes down just the main body tube. So we'll do that one. And then we have one up on the cone. So that was this. Then you have probably 2 sides of the cone. Actually, that one shows green on here. So if we have this, so I see how they kind of alternated colors in here. You can do it however you want. So if we grab the green one, we'll grab the green little fire thingies and put 2 on the cone. And then on the tail fins, there's 4 tail fins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that means we're probably putting a sticker on each side of the tail fin. So we'll get going on that. All right, so I always like to start off with kind of one of the easiest, smallest ones first. Then once I feel good about it, then start to tackle the larger ones. So if I mess up with the little one, not that big of a deal. So let's go ahead, and they don't show an Estes one, and there is an Estes sticker on here for that color. So let's go and see if we can pull that up. All right, I'll do the first one, and then you can start working on the next one. So we're just gonna put this one right around the bottom. A lot of other places I've seen, I'll do it opposite of the launch lug. I'll just put that on right there. Not super straight, but that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's funny for me to say. Anybody who knows me, I always say it has to be perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so I got that first one on. You want to try to put one of the ones on the cones. That's gonna be, what color is the cone one? Green one? All right, let's try that. Kind of clean our area up here a little as well. All right, so see how the flame kind of goes like that, so it comes down right to that edge. Yeah, I like how you did that. I like how you kind of pushed here and then you kind of pushed it out like that. I think that was just perfect. So you gotta make sure this doesn't come down into the shoulder of your cone. It needs to stay clear of that so it goes in nice. All right, let's get another one here. Ooh, get that around there. Let's do the other green one, and we'll just do on the other side. So I'm gonna put my finger here and then flip it perfectly to the other side. Perfectly. Nice. I like it. Good. Looks real nice. All right. We got 8 more to do, or also the big one. Let's do the fin ones. I'm gonna start pulling those off. Let me stick those on.
These?
Yeah. Green ones. Yep, the green ones. And I think they just kind of have it go out that way. It doesn't have to be perfect. See how it's kind of here, and then the flame goes out towards the edge. How do you want me to do that? Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah, just plop that on there. I like it. All right, start peeling them off. 1 down, 7 to go, plus the big one. Right there. Perfect.
This one?
Yep. I like it. A few more to go. How's school today?
Good.
Nice. Learn anything exciting?
No.
No. What? Cannot talk about that. Excellent. Just passing our launch lugs, which will go on the rod that will stick up, that will launch off of. Beautiful. Got 3 to go. Nice. And sometimes we're in a bind where we only get like 5 minutes or 10 minutes to work on something because somebody needs to run to the store. So that's okay. We'll take the time we can get and we'll get going.
One more.
Perfect. One more. And then the big one.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do the big one, we'll want to make sure we lay it on, you kind of push in the middle and then push out and push in the middle again and push down. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Is that the right one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so pretty. Ooh, it's so pretty. So I want to put that one also on the opposite side of the launch lug. So we're going to put that down. Put it wherever you want. All right, yeah. Make sure we're good. It's okay if we overlap the Estes one. Scoot it down just a tad, down, pick it up. It's okay. Pick it up. Should pull up. There you go. Because we want to make sure that this doesn't go over the front of the cone. So I think we're going to go to the Estes thing right there. So why don't we turn it 1? There, we'll do it like that. When I say, you can, let me see real quick. Just make sure it gonna, perfect. Big fingers. Okay, there, push it down in the middle. Good, now go to one side, up or down, either way. Good, so we kind of take our finger like that and just rub it up like that. Good, now put your finger there and rub it down. Perfect. All right, and then you'll kind of just rub, push it on like that. And there it is. We're done. We've built a rocket. Great job. All right. Next video will be to put the wadding in. We'll look at the instructions. We'll just look at that real quick and see what it says. Usually it says right here, it says 2 to 3 squares. So that wadding we'll get 2 or 3 squares we'll put in there, probably go for 3. And then we'll load that up and show you how to load the engines, and we'll call it good. See you then.